What if the most powerful thing a woman can do after heartbreak is begin again, without apology? I'm Tina Leigh, mom, dreamer, and proof that life after 50 is anything but boring. Dating Grace isn't your soft-focused fairy tale version of dating. If you're ready for messy, honest, and maybe a little wild, you're in the right place. This is Dating Grace by Tina Leigh.
Okay, well, obviously you went through something last week that was crazy, but I can't believe that you made me come on the show after all that I've done with your hair 2 days before your appointment. So this is not exactly what it normally looks like, but I'm happy to be here.
I am so happy to have you, Tyler. You know I love you to pieces. And I am telling you, you have seen it all.
You've been through a journey.
You've seen it all. And I would like to call this show Going Blonde because I think it's so much more than just changing my hair color. It's really become something that, I need a different look after going through a really painful divorce. Right. But it wasn't just so much that, it was the haircut or the color. It's also besides the physical transformation, it's also an emotional, mental transformation.
Right. I watched you single-handedly regain your confidence and maybe become a newer version of yourself over the last, year and a half, 2 years?
Yeah. Definitely.
Can you believe it's been that long?
Year and a half.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I have cried in your chair. Yeah. I don't know how many times. There's always been something that typically pops up, especially in the earlier days when I was still in the whole process with the divorce and not sure what twist or turn was coming next. And you would get it some days and I would be a puddle and you would help build me back up and make my hair look fantastic. And I would walk out of there feeling 2 inches taller and feeling like I could do whatever it is that I need to do. Yep. So I think,
that's
some
my
people,
favorite part of my job.
Yeah, I was going to say, some people think, oh, it's just hair. No, it's so much more than just hair.
I always say your hair is your crown. You can have no makeup on, be in sweats. And if you have hair confidence, because you just absolutely love your hair, you don't care what you look like. But on the opposite, if you have your favorite pair of pumps on, your favorite dress, you just got your makeup done, but you hate your hair, you don't want to go out.
That is so true. So true.
Yeah, hair gives you a lot of confidence.
I think for me that was part of me starting to come out of almost, it felt like I was in shell shock from the divorce. And this was in those earlier days. The first big confidence booster was changing my hair up, going lighter, and I've had a lot of fun with it. I think it's I feel like I look younger, and I think that again, it's brighter. It makes me feel more youthful, and I think that just kind of comes out then from the inside to what you're showing on the outside as well.
I think it to piggyback off of that, I think it brings out maybe something that you felt like you used to have but lost inside of you. And you're like, oh, I still have it. It's still here.
Yeah. I think that anytime you're in a relationship and you feel like that you have lost yourself along the way, but you know who you are, really. It's just a matter of getting back to that person. And this is just It is who I am, and it's just a new version, and it's a new lifestyle. It's a new me. I mean, there's so much that has changed, and anything from where I live to what I'm doing in life. I mean, who would have thought I'd be sitting here, even when we first started seeing each other, that I'd be sitting here recording a podcast, and now you're my guest, and I absolutely love it. I think that it's so perfect and so appropriate that you are on this show, because it does. For me, it speaks volumes.
And it was all cooked up just behind Tyler's chair.
Yes, it truly was. It truly was. It just started coming to me in pieces. And then I had an appointment with you for, I think it might have been the long cut and color day.
I think so.
And I was kind of sharing with you just some of the ideas.
Yeah.
And then we talked about dating grace because grace is needed through a process like this. Obviously, we just talked a little bit about my own experience. How has it been for you, like with your other clients who have gone through like a bad breakup or a divorce or are recently divorced and they come to you? Do you feel that people in that situation, that they're looking for like a physical change that then therefore brings this added confidence?
Absolutely. I think like whether you are recently widowed or divorced, even if it's an amicable divorce and you both have decided, 90% of my clients are female, not male. So when they come in, they're either looking to get back the person that they feel like they lost, whether they were a mom and, they had 2 or 3 children that they had activities to do all the time and they were the one that was taking care of them and the dad was working all the time. Like they somehow along the way lost the spark that they used to have for themselves. And I think that you can have both. And I try and tell you guys, whether it's just a divorce or you're having to deal with custody with children, like that's a hard battle, but you can still have that and feel the most confident in yourself.
I think when you're in a situation, especially if somebody leaves you, it does hit at such a deep place within yourself, I should say, that it makes you feel unattractive, makes you feel not pretty, makes you feel old, it makes you feel stale, whatever the things are, that
it hits
it's like
that
you've
string.
lost, like you said, kind of the spark that had been there. And then it's like trying to kind of get that back, that spark, that light inside of your own self. Yeah. Yeah.
It hits that string of, and we all have it in some capacity, but some have it more than others, but it hits that, am I enough string? What did I do wrong? What did I not do that my partner was expecting? Or, why is this happening to me? I thought I did everything right. And, it puts you in that vulnerable position where eventually you have to figure out and you have to surround yourself with people that help you figure out it wasn't about you. Right. You are enough. You are more than enough. And so then that's when you can get that confidence back and get your hair done, go to the gym, like all these things that you do for yourself to feel the most confident. I feel like you have to go through that dip or valley before you can start climbing your way back to the top. But that's when you surround yourself with people that help you do that.
Definitely. I think that, it's kind of like what they say about raising kids, that it takes a village. Well, after a divorce, it takes a village like around you. And you do want to surround yourself with people that truly care about you, that are giving you good advice, that are there to listen, that are a strong support system for you. Right. It's for me, what I found is that's the only way I could move through the pain. Just like with all of us, we've all had painful breakups. Right. And for you, when that's happened in the past, how have you been able to process that pain and to move through the pain to get to the other side?
Good question. I have just had a handful of relationships. I am a do as I say, not as I do type leader. My friends will attest to that.
It's true.
I told you. Yes. But no, I'm a do as I say, not as I do leader, unfortunately. So I internalize a lot. I'm just recently open to dating, but not really. I'm not, when I say that, what I mean by that is I don't put myself out there. I literally got on Facebook dating because I thought that would be the safest place. It wasn't like a hookup app. Right. Or
I did the same because you gave me that recommendation.
And it became just a funny thing that my friends and I, like when we were at a restaurant, would swipe through people because they were all like 50, 60, 70, 300 pounds. The worst photos. I wish I had my phone so I could show you some of the photos, but it was just like, I was like, okay, it's dating's just not for me. But
I understand.
I do feel like in the straight community and the gay community, it's very different. A lot of, especially in the gay male community, they want open relationships, or the relationships, when the new wears off, it doesn't last very long, because they do have, it's not like it was 20 years ago where you got set up with friend or by your friends.
Yeah.
Now you have 80 different dating apps at your fingertips. So if one thing goes wrong, or if, they don't like one thing about you, they're just on to the next.
True.
And I just am unbothered by that. Like I have a great life, and I built that for myself, by myself. I have a great group of friends around me. I have a great clientele, and I'm just like, if I do believe in soulmates, not one particular soulmate. So I do feel like... Can you tell me
a little bit more about what you mean when you say that you believe that there's more than one soulmate, and what that kind of looks like to you and what you have experienced?
I think what I mean by soulmates is like not all at the same time, but like if you get married, if you marry your high school sweetheart, you have children, you build a life together, and you start to grow apart, does that mean that you lost your soulmate and you're never going to find anyone again? Or if, your partner dies in a tragic accident or gets cancer, or I believe that like there are multiple soulmates through your life. And if you end up with one soulmate, that's amazing. But I also have seen so many of my clients that have gotten a divorce, or somebody's unfortunately passed, and they've taken the time to grieve, and then it just happens.
Yeah.
They meet somebody through somebody, and that's their second soulmate.
For myself, I never thought that I was going to be divorced.
Right.
And I thought we were in it
for the long haul,
to the very end.
Right.
Obviously, it's very different.
Yep.
And during this time, I think what I've come to realize is that in our situation, we've ran our course, we've run our race,
and that happens,
and it does happen. And I do believe that there is somebody out there waiting for me. I think that I want to get myself still, even though I'm feeling really good about everything that's going on in my life, I still think that I need a little bit of time to position myself better for that person. I'm definitely open to it. I think it might be a little bit too soon for me at this point. Do you believe that everybody does have somebody out there waiting for them?
Sure. I think it's a matter of if you're open to it.
Okay. Yeah. And so you're saying that you're kind of getting your toe back in there. How open are
like
you?
A pinky toe.
How open are you to having that love of your life come in?
I'm open to it. They just have to be perfect. And what I mean by that's not
perfect for you.
They have to be perfect for me. I travel a lot. They've got to be okay with that. I don't like money wise. It doesn't really matter to me if I'm the breadwinner, if they are. I'm always going to have like my own thing going on. I want them to have their own thing. I don't want to rely on them. I don't want them to rely on me. And when I've dated in the past with my career, it's fine at first that I travel a lot, but then they get bored or they get lonely,
and it becomes an issue.
Right. And it's like, but we discussed this at the beginning. I'm 34. This is my life. I'm not retiring anytime soon. It's only going to continue or get a little bit busier. So they've got to kind of like fit that mold where it actually is okay and they're also independent.
That completely makes sense.
Yeah.
When you do meet somebody, do you lead with all of the things that you want and hope for in a relationship?
I'm definitely, you know this about me by now, But I'm definitely like a grab the bull by the horns.
Yes.
I don't want to waste any time.
I think that I'm becoming more and more like that. I don't think it's worth anyone's time.
No.
Especially if you do say some of these larger, hopes and dreams and things for your future. If they are not in alignment whatsoever, then I don't think they ever will be.
Right.
And so what's the point?
And you don't want to, like, 3 months down the road be like, well, I wish I would have known this.
Yeah.
When we went on our first date. It's either you didn't ask or they omitted the information on purpose because they were trying to impress you.
True.
So I like to get down to, like, brass tacks, as they say, on our first couple dates.
Like, shoot me straight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure.
And then I know.
When is the last time you went on a date?
God. When was the last time I went on a date?
How do you classify a date?
Well, let's just say.
I mean, I haven't had a hookup in like 9 months.
Okay.
And that was not a date.
What about a first date with someone that you actually did maybe sit down with and spend a couple of hours getting to know, whether it was over dinner or
Probably
drinks?
a year. It's
Okay.
probably been a year since I've went on like a date. And I remember, what?
You went on a date with an ex. The one that we talked about last night.
No, I didn't. That was not a date.
Do you
my
revisit?
ex from Arkansas came and hung out with me a couple nights.
How do you feel about exes? I mean, is it something you would revisit with somebody, or do you feel like once you've like broken up that it's done and you shouldn't tread back in that?
I think it's situational.
Pool? Yeah.
There are a couple that I don't even talk to. They're blocked. But there are a few that if, because people change over time, they have different lifestyles and they've settled down and,
Right.
so, if they came back and were different, yes. If it was the same, there was a reason that we broke up.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with that.
So I would say it's situational.
Okay.
It's not like a yes or no.
I feel like in most situations for me, it's not something I revisit.
Right. Because there's a reason that you broke up.
Yes.
And you don't want to go 6 months down the road and everything be great.
Right.
And then it hit you again. And it's like, well, I did know this. So at this point, it's my fault, not theirs.
Right. The other day, of course, all this stuff pops up, on your Instagram constantly. Right. And it's talking about like being intentional. Be intentional with your life, with your habits, with your energy, with your words, with who you surround yourself with how you show up daily, with what you are working towards, with the steps you take, above all, with what you really want. Do you feel that you're living your life with intention as well as dating intentionally?
I feel like it's always evolving and changing. And probably, if you would have asked me to paint a picture of, somebody that I would consider perfect for myself, it'd be very different 5 years ago than it is today.
Yeah.
I worry and think and care a lot less about looks. I don't care how tall you are. I don't care. It's more about, how you make me feel and can we have conversation and can you make me laugh and can I make you laugh? It's like stuff like that.
Right.
So I'm much more intentional and looking at like a long-term picture versus like you're pretty to me. Because when you get past that, if, 5 years down the road, if you are not compatible at all or 6 months down the road, what did it matter if they were pretty or not?
Right.
And then with friendship, surrounding yourself intentionally, I think that changes too. I think, people, I'm sure you've had friends like through this divorce where you thought y'all were so close and then you either drifted apart or they picked, your ex-husband and it like blindsided you. So, I know my friend group is always evolving and changing. People move away.
Right.
You kind of fall out or just stop talking.
Yeah. I will say that, I've only been in the Nashville area for 2 years now.
Right.
And before that, I was on the West Coast in Oregon for 10 years. And
I love that area, by the way.
It's
so beautiful.
Been very, very shocking how few I've heard from, other than my very close friends from Oregon. And then, of course, I've got childhood besties, et cetera. I mean, the people that I have kept close are definitely, they're really the ones that care. But there were a few that it stung, that I was very surprised.
Do you feel like the friendship dynamic here is different than the friendship dynamic you had in Oregon?
Very much so.
What do you think? Because I've always said this, and I've heard that a lot from people that have moved from different parts of the States to here, that it's a lot harder to make friends here, and it's a lot more surface level.
I actually found Lake Oswego, which is this little bedroom community of Portland. I lived in Portland for 8 years, and then the last 2 years was in Lake Oswego. I found Lake Oswego harder to meet friends. I did. Everybody was very much, keeping up with the Joneses, or I gotta smoke the Joneses, kind of thing.
Right.
And, who's on a private jet, who's doing this,
who's the bigger bear,
who's doing that. Exactly. Yeah. And that's not really how I want to live my life at all. It's just not really.
Because eventually
of
everyone's going to be on the chopping block.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But here I have found for me that it's being back in the South is so much more friendly than even like the Pacific Northwest. I mean, they're friendly, but it's different. It's not as, somebody here that you don't even really know would give you the shirt off their back or, help you.
It's our Southern way.
Exactly. Help you in any way that they can. And I think for this time in my life in particular, it's been really nice to know that there's so many caring people around, even if I don't know them very well, that they're there. And if you needed something, that they would help. So that actually provides some comfort to me. When you have close friends that live far away and you're still trying to build your friend base here, that part sometimes, you feel a little, it makes you maybe a little homesick or a little bit lonely sometimes, that you don't have that person that's like that bestie in your
you can't just go door to door and be like, do you want to be friends?
I know, right?
So it's difficult. It's like,
this is what's been going on with me.
Yeah. I feel like we have a lot of churches in the South, and I feel like church helps a lot with building community and friend groups, because then you get people that are your age, that have kids the same age as you, that, or are going through the same thing. True. There are a lot of all female groups at churches that you and I talked about. That would be like a perfect market for you.
Right. Well, speaking of church, a question that I wanted to ask you has to do with grace. Do you feel that you give yourself grace on a daily basis?
I'm trying more and more. That's another do as I say, not as I do, because, I preach that to you guys all the time. Yeah. And I do that with my friends, and I give my friends a ton of grace on, like, I hope you're loved. I hope but I don't tend to do that for myself. If you ask my friends, they would say no. I
think through this process, that's also been something that's been very helpful for me, is giving myself
a lot of grace. Yeah.
A lot of grace and a break sometimes. Yeah. It's like, you know what? It's okay. It's okay if I'm going to cry. It's okay if I, need to scream. It's okay if I actually do the polar opposite and I'm having a great time, when somebody might think, my gosh, how is she having such a good time when all of this stuff is swirling around, Right. But yeah, I'm trying to just be more present and in the moment, and like whatever that brings, allow myself that as well as those feelings. Right. Because I think that if you don't let some of this out, it will eat you alive. Now, exactly. What about people that have hurt you? Are you able to give grace to them in a time when, sometimes you just want to scream, fuck you. Yeah.
I am getting better about doing it later. I hold grudges. I always have. And yeah, I always have. Because I feel like I give people a lot. So when I feel like I'm wronged,
Yes.
and I haven't gotten back
When you feel very generous and thoughtful towards others, and then they turn on you or whatever happens, and then it's like, whoa, hold on, how did this get so far when I feel like I've always been working at our friendship or whatever the case is.
So I'm learning to, because what I tend to do is I have a very sharp tongue. And
yes, you do.
I will say things that I can't take back.
Yes.
And so I've learned to like not say anything at all.
And do the think before you.
And just take a step back, and then we can reconvene later. And
that's wise. That's a very wise
when we
thing to
reconvene,
do.
I can actually sit down and say, this is what upset me. This is how I feel. Allow them to respond. And then we go from there on, do we pick this back up? What does this look like?
Yeah.
And that's all situational, depending on the person and how they feel, how I feel. But no, I tend to, when I feel like wronged or hurt, I tend to like close the door.
Sometimes life asks you to start over, not with a grand plan or a perfect mindset, but with a quiet decision to begin again. That's how Dating Grace started, from a place of loss, curiosity, and a deep desire to grow. I'm Tina Leigh, and I built Dating Grace to help others rediscover who they are beneath the noise. Through one-on-one coaching, workshops, and the simple act of honest conversation, I help people reconnect themselves, others, and the parts of life that still feel good. If that's what you're craving, a little peace, a little direction, and a lot of grace, book your free 15-minute consultation at datinggracebytinalee.com. That's Dating Grace by Tina Leigh, TinaLeigh.com. Let's find your way forward together. Well, Tyler, of course, I know you are so generous. You are so thoughtful. You are a really good friend. Like, you are the definition of being a good friend.
I try to be.
And do you think that sometimes, though, because your nature is to give so much, is that in some way tied to your own like self-worth and like the value that you have?
If I'm being honest, yes. I have, like, from a young age, like we've talked about me being bullied in school and how awful it was. It was terrible. I mean, I would have to get a pass to walk to the principal's office so that they could walk me to the bathroom. It was like awful. And I think from that, like that childhood era, I've always tried to prove my loyalty and friendship. And then, there's also like times where I feel like I see my friends going through, they're either alone or they're being picked on or they're being picked apart and I always want to be that because I didn't have anybody. So I always wanted to be that like one friend in the room that you always have no matter what. And so I think that does like tie back to almost like not worthy in a sense.
I can relate because that is something that through all of this mess, I realized what I've been fighting my whole life is my own sense of value and being worthy and thinking that I'm not in a lot of situations. And I think that does bring people that have those types of feelings to a place where they can overcompensate in many different ways. It doesn't just have to be monetarily, but it's that you care so much,
right? And
that you really want to be that for someone else,
right?
That it can take a toll, especially if somebody takes advantage of situations where you are being so kind and so generous, and that you are truly there for them.
And I think I've held on to this phrase for like 4 or 5 years now. You train people how to treat you. So I do think like, for some of the people that I've like lost relationships with,
Yeah.
Friend wise, I think, or relationship wise, it's like if I'm always pouring out, eventually like that's the norm. So they get used to that. And then, I have not communicated that I need that back. Okay. So they don't know. And then that becomes normal. So then when it's a problem, all of a sudden they're like, I had no idea you felt this way.
Now, earlier when we were talking, you were saying how like in a dating situation, you are very forward with your expectations, talking about your goals, what you want from life. Why do you think that it's hard to do it in this manner? If you know that you are somebody that gives, that maybe you're not training people to give back to you instead of it being so one-sided.
I think it goes back to like value for myself. Like I don't value myself as much as I do other people. And so I'm like, the first step is admitting it and learning it and changing your...
Right. I've had so much therapy, I could throw up, but yes, I know what you mean.
And so I think like, I know that now as a 34-year-old adult.
But do you know?
But I've got to change it now.
Yeah.
Now I've got to make sure that if I'm not getting something from a friend or a partner, that I have to put a stop to it and be like, I don't like that, or this has got to change, or this is how I feel. And so I'm, just now
putting that into
starting to implement that. Yeah.
Putting that into play.
And it's like a take one step forward and 2 steps back. It's like a tango.
Do you know now that you are absolutely worthy and that you should never question that worthy and that beauty that's inside of you?
I mean, I feel like yes and no. I mean, there's always that like self-doubt still in the back of my mind, but
the angel and the devil.
Yeah. But I know, like I surround myself with, I have a great group of friends. I have a great clientele. I have great family, and they all say the same thing. So, and I know that I'm not, internally self-harming.
Right.
But
I think, but what you touched on, it's so important just to recognize it and now know that you are going to put boundaries in place and you are going to protect that part of you because you can't be everything to everybody all the time.
Right. Because then, it's like that saying, like you're burning the candle at both ends.
Yeah.
And eventually, when you're doing that for everybody all the time and then you get burned out, they're not going to help you.
Right. And then
so
what? You've taken yourself to a place where you are in a deficit.
Right.
And then how are you going to build yourself back up? Yeah.
I was watching Oprah, and I think it was Ian Van Zandt that said, I've learned that my cup has to be full. What runneth over my cup is for everyone else. And I can divvy that up however I want.
I like that a lot.
10% here, 20% here, whatever that number looks like. But what's in my cup is for me.
Because if you're not your best, you can't be your best for others. And so, and it does. It takes a full cup to be your best.
Absolutely.
And that really makes a lot of sense for me. I like the way she put that, and that, again, I think, people they show you who they are.
Right.
And so why waste that extra on people that are already showing you that they're just not that type of person you want in your life. So put your energy where it's deserved.
Right.
And I think there's a big difference in knowing that too. That's something that's happened to me recently, that not everybody deserves your attention. Not everybody deserves your love.
Or conversation.
Or your time. Yeah.
Or conversation.
Yeah. And that's been a big shift for me. Where before it's like, I just, I think, when you're Southern, you think, oh my gosh, well, you don't want to not speak to somebody and make them feel
Right.
bad and all the things.
Right.
No, hell no. Like I'm just,
We
no,
tend to like
I'm
brush
done.
everything under the
Right.
rug.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. And then that rug, like you can't
Yeah,
even
it
walk
gets
on it
piled up.
because it's so
Yeah.
packed
Yeah.
with stuff underneath.
Yeah. You're going to roll a fucking ankle.
Yes, exactly. Break a leg.
Yeah.
But yeah, so boundaries. Yeah, I'm getting better at putting boundaries into play myself. I think that it's the perfect way to really set yourself up for the things that you do want in life, and hopefully weed out the stuff as well as the people that
Right.
you don't want in your life.
Because the people that love you and that really care about you, when you say no, they're fine with it.
That's right. Because they respect you.
Right.
And they know that no is okay.
Right.
It's one of those things. I was raised too by being told by one of my aunts who was quite a bit older, but it would be like, don't say no to anything. Say yes to everything because you just don't know what the opportunity is, et cetera.
Yeah.
It's like, you cannot say yes to everything. You just can't.
You can for a limited amount of time.
Yes. But like you said, you'll run through that full cup though,
Yep.
right? And then what?
Quickly.
Yeah.
And then they all move on, whether it's like you're saying yes to a bunch of business ventures or yes to going out all the time or yes to going on dates. You're burnt out, and everybody that you've done business with or everybody you went on a date with or all the people that you were hanging out with, they're still going to go out. They're still going to do what they need to do to get everything that they need done. So you're going to be left behind exhausted when you could have just set boundaries.
I'm going to shift gears a little to going back to the salon and the importance of getting that new that new look, to refresh or update your life to match like what is currently going on with you. Like, like if you are going through a lot of change and you're bringing that part of you like with it, how do you feel that how somebody looks, how important in terms of how they look and how they feel in that moment, how important is that, do you think, for your clients who are like walking out of the salon, and they've got this new look? What do you think is, I guess, the biggest confidence booster from that?
I think a lot of times that's their first step. I think, whether they just got served with divorce papers or they're having to divvy up assets or start a new life, whether they have kids or not, or they're going through a custody battle, or they just lost a spouse, like whatever that is, going to the salon a lot of times is like their first step to like anew them. Because, I mean, think about like when I first started doing your hair to now, where you were then versus where you are now. We're a therapist because
I feel like I've done a 180.
Yeah. And so, but that was one of your first steps is like, oh my gosh, I walked out with so much confidence because I cut my hair. It's a totally different color. I feel younger. I feel more vibrant.
Right.
And it's less about the color of your hair and more about how it made you feel.
Yes.
It's like a rejuvenation, and it's almost like a confidence booster or a kick walking out of the salon because you're going back to your car to tackle all the hard things in your life right now, and you just left somewhere that left you feeling 10 times more confident than when you came in.
You said earlier that you've already touched on this with them. When like somebody's having a hard day, let's say in this case, since we're at the salon, you have a client that's having a hard day. And like I said, I've cried in your chair many a times, and I can answer this personally, but I would like to ask you, how do you handle that with other people, especially if you don't know them as well, and you're just learning about their circumstance, or maybe they're just not that person that normally shows you that side of themselves. How do you handle your clients on those hard days, and what do you tell them so that they can move through whatever the issue is at hand?
It's circumstantial. I mean, sometimes it's a hug and just, I'm so sorry, because there's not a lot that you can say.
Yeah.
And then other times I'm more like a big brother which was how I handled you that day, where I was like, get it together.
Yes.
You're way better than this person. They don't deserve your tears. You know,
Yes.
you've cried over them for this long now, and they're showing you over and over again that they're the exact same person that you left. So, you know, it was more of like, I treated you as like, I'm going to pull you up by your bootstraps.
Yes.
Because you're much better off now
Yeah,
than you
I got
were
the
then.
bootstraps,
Yeah.
like tough love,
Yeah.
I think, talk
Yeah.
kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it worked for me, and it was needed. You know,
Yeah.
I had cried too many days
Yeah.
over things that,
And you didn't deserve it.
you know, you really have to also take a hard look at that and understand that sometimes that energy, it would be much better spent on the positive things,
Right.
what you're actually really needing to do
Yeah.
with your new life, your new self, you know, is build that foundation
Right.
instead of, you know, crying and
Right.
thinking, oh my gosh, he said this to me, he said
Right.
that to me, I'm being threatened with this, you know,
Right.
whatever the circumstances. But
Right.
yeah, and I really had to have a lot of those mind shifts,
Yeah.
to
Like
help
aha
me
moments.
to help me get through it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So on those days when you're just having a tough day, do you think that looking your best, even though you're not feeling that, do you think that does help people get
Yes,
through the day and get
absolutely.
through the situation?
Absolutely.
Kind of
do.
like a fake it till you make it almost, in a way, which I hate to say, because I feel like that's kind of ignoring, you know,
right.
some
How
of
you
the,
feel. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I absolutely do. I do think that that's generational. Like, I think that, you know, like my grandparents' era, my parents' era, the era right before mine, I think they are let's get dressed up, it'll make you feel better. And they have to be in this routine every single day of appearance is everything. And it will shift how you feel about yourself. And there may be some truth to that, but I feel like my generation and the generation under mine lean more into how they're feeling and why they're feeling the way that they're feeling.
Yeah.
And they get through that quicker sometimes than generations before us.
Yeah.
Because they're more worried about the appearance for everyone else versus how they're feeling internally. So I'd rather be at work in sweats and going through it than putting it on a shelf and putting my best foot forward every day. Because then you
like
deal
that.
with that 15 years later when you
Yes.
could deal with it in a month.
Yes. I like that. I think that is definitely what I'm walking away from my divorce with, is that I do want to address things head on and not put them on a shelf or,
Right.
you know, act like it's not happening. It's not going on.
Right.
It's so much easier to be direct, to understand and work through issues, whether it works out or it doesn't work out.
Right.
But it's something that still needs to be dealt with.
Right.
I cannot thank you enough for sharing your time today.
You're so welcome.
And sharing your vulnerable side, and
I'll come back anytime.
and letting us know also, besides going blonde, it's not just the cut, it's not just the color, it's so much more. And you truly are. You are a therapist when I sit in that chair, and I appreciate every bit of advice, you know, whether it's good, bad, or ugly. I'm listening and I receive it, and it makes me think, especially if it's things where maybe I've been, I don't know, maybe too hard on myself, or I've been so emotional over something that I just need to completely let go of.
Right.
That it's all received, and it's also, you give it with so much love and care that I know that it is for, you know, my future and for
Right.
the best me.
Right.
So I so appreciate it, and I think that you are mega talented. And I think that anybody that sits in your chair is blessed to have you doing their hair. So
Well, thank you. I love you.
love you. So thank
And I will
you
see you in
again.
2 days.
Thank you. I know, right? You can be like, woo, girl. As it turns out, yeah, with sick kids, etc. I didn't get in last week, and now here we sit recording a podcast. But that's okay.
You texted me about
You know what?
the podcast today, and I was like,
Oh, like, girl, your hair's not going to be done. But you know what? This is also part of the.
it's real.
It's real.
Yeah.
Roll with it, and I think it looks good.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it looks really good.
It looks great.
Granted, I'm gonna look, like a total $1,000,000 on Wednesday after the fresh color and cut. But yeah, well, Tyler, you are a gem, and I think the world of you. So
Well, I love you so
again.
much.
Love you.
Be back anytime.
This is for the hurt. This is for the healing. This is Dating Grace by Tina Leigh.